Hey everybody, so I thought that this is also a good time this morning to do an update video on the bearded dragon we rescued. You saw him kind of get confused and not really understand how to eat fruit for his first time, but that's fine. So I thought, hey, let's show him off, let's see how he's doing, let's take a look at his enclosure. And see what he's doing. So let's do a breakdown of the enclosure, then we'll give you a breakdown of him because I need to clean his tank. So this is the tank he came in, which is one of those Extra It's actually the tank I first had my skink in, and I currently have Sweet Tooth in my Argentine black and white Tegu, but it is the 12 by 18 by 2 foot tank. So it's a little bit on the smaller side, but due to his size, it's going to work for right now before we need to move him up. Really what it doesn't allow is a good height elevation for some type of hammock where he could really elevate himself up. But so when it came, reptile carpet was in there, just the odor, the smell, that was gone. Goodbye. So we've moved things around. His old like pyramid climbing thing is in that corner on the cool side, and with a little thermometer over there so I can keep a constant monitor of the cool side. And then in the close is his water dish, which some people might look at that and say, hey, that's kind of small. They can be small for bearded dragons. Bearded dragons do not drink a lot. They don't need, and they shouldn't have a lot of humidity from evaporating water into the tank. So it's also really important that if you're using above the tank heat or even below the tank heat, that it's not over the water bowl. That way you don't get humidity being released. So that's his water bowl. Obviously I cleaned it and put it in. Replace the reptile carpet with newspaper. Whether you're going to use newspaper long-term, which I'm fine with, or you're going to use it short-term, it's always a good idea to use it short-term when evaluating, putting someone in a new tank, because maybe they're a little bit grumpy, they'll be moving around, they'll be chipping stuff, they'll be making a mess, and it's easier to clean, at least at the beginning. Now, UV and heat setup, what are we looking at with that? Great questions. So, he already had a UV bulb, fluorescent bulb going along the back, and then he actually came with another one that I put along the top. He had just a heat light, no UV, no mercury vapor, just a heat lamp, which I decided to keep. And then with all my tanks, I have every single tank here has some type of non-light emitting heat. And sometimes they're not even in use. But these non-light emitting heat sources are hooked up to thermostats that are monitoring the inside of the tank and are set to go off before the coldest temperature that the animal can endure happens. Now, in some cases, that will never go off, like a veiled chameleon that can dip down to 40 degrees. Oh, hi, you just decided to come out. Can dip down to 40 degrees Fahrenheit. Oh, we can't let you go away, sorry. Because if you run heat in your house, even in the coldest, like in the winter, I run my heat, it gets down to 67-ish, around there is what my thermostat is set to at night. That's never going to trigger that. But these are here just in case. And for some reptiles that would be considered too cold. Maybe they're more of a tropical species and they can't go down to that temperature. Maybe they have to stay around mid-70s. Maybe they have to stay around mid-80s, things like that. So that's controlling his tank. Look at that. Yeah, you're the one who came out, which is fine because I have to clean your tank. Wooden log here. I'm a big fan of these. They do make these in plastic. But I like the wood ones. The reptile can really get in, scratch his way in. There's one staple here I've got to pull out, which is where the sticker was in. or I guess the label, but it was really down in there, so I figured I would get to it when I cleaned the tank, and I'm going to be able to get it off now. Perfect. So he's got that little wooden, this is going to give him the ability to bask as well as go under for shelter, and then I hung that hammock there. Now, the nice thing is, go back in there. The nice thing is, I've been waiting for him to go to the bathroom to make sure that there's no blockage, to make sure he's digesting, you know, to see that's going to be a good sign of health, right? So like I said, he's been eating a little bit, but did he use the restroom? Well, the answer is yes. He did. And when I take out this wood structure, first I'm going to check, make sure he didn't use it. Again, so that, guys, that wood structure was new. I wiped it off. But this is why I like to start with newspaper. So he's, you know, he's been scratching on that. Obviously, debris and dirt comes off, and it's right here. So it's much easier. I'm just going to pick this up and throw it away. But there's a little bit of urate right here, which he had peed a little bit before when I first got him, which was fine. But again, I was very interested in stool, actual, you know, making sure he can go to the restroom, everything is fine, not just urate. And we do. We have a pile right back there, mixture of pee and poo, and that's great. So that's a good sign that from a digestive standpoint, everything is good. He received a second bath, which is good, just to, you know, help me check to make sure there was no wounds on him. I wanted to give him a more thorough inspection, but I wanted him to calm down a little bit before we did that to make sure he was handleable. Now, there's a couple things that I noticed and have been getting a lot better, but this guy was really sore when I got him. There were some places, because you see how I can hold him? He's very tame. But there were, and I can pet him, and he's fine. He actually really likes that. He comes up to the front of the tank in the morning. But there were some spots that just touching caused him a lot of pain, especially down in the shoulder areas. And I'm not sure what would have caused that. You know, it's different. It's not like he was in a big tank or like a big dog that was running and gets joint pain. And he loves to come in and out of his enclosure. So I'm not sure what would have caused him to have all these massive sore spots, but he had them, and they were quite bad. But he doesn't have them any longer. You know, it's been a little bit of time since I've had him, and he's really calmed down. Fortunately, his tail is that shorter bit from where it was damaged and healed, but that's just something. And he looks a lot better. We're going to really see how he does when he goes to do a shed. And I will keep you guys updated, because remember, his pores were just semi-clogged, so nothing bad. But I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to clean this out and just keep him up to date. And I will keep you guys up to date on him. Yeah, that's that little bit of wound he had on his chin there, but hopefully that will heal down when he sheds. There's a little bit of worn, and you know, that little bit of warring on the front of his nose, that's never going to grow back. But hopefully when he sheds, it'll just be always shorter, but be nice and healed. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Take care.